So they've taken down Albert Pike's statue. You won't get a complaint from me about that. Any statue of any Freemason needs to be taken down and destroyed. They know not what they serve, I think is the term for that. I'm sure a lot of you know of Albert Pike and his 3 letters predicting the 3 world wars. I say predicting. A lot of people believe this. A lot of people hold a lot of faith in this. I'm very aware of it. It seems very accurate. The descriptions seem accurate. The letter itself was written to a guy called Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871, and the letter was actually on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977. So it has its critics, it has its deniers, and obviously the letter's not on display now, but it was on display at the British Museum. So you'd wonder why something so obviously faked would have been put on display. So I'm 51% convinced that this is partial truth, and obviously nothing that could have been written then can happen exactly to the letter, but the main focus is, to me, or the premise if you like, seems correct. So if you haven't heard the letter before, and I know a lot of you have, but there will be people here that haven't. Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary. He was a leader in the mid-1800s, and he was the director of the Illuminati. Yes, there is an organisation called the Illuminati, and they do exist. Pike was a 33rd degree Freemason. He was a occultist Grand Master, and he was also the creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. Now, the Confederate situation goes a little deeper when you understand who this man was. Anyway, I won't read you the full letters, but I'll read you some extracts because I'll be here all day otherwise. So the First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the adjuncteur agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the adjuncteur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere, the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. end. So those are the three world wars as written by Albert Pike in a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871, and that letter was on display in the British Library until 1977. I think that's all I'm going to say on that, but his statue's down and good. Cheers.